everybody, I am Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and tonight is our last leg of her peonies. We're going to be resolving the shells and the little bits of metal we see reflected and kind of pulling together, like if we want to do any more resolution anywhere, though I think that's pretty much where I'm going to stay focused. And of course, it's very interesting, great. Now over here, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. These four things I think look pretty much the same. Actually, that might be better. It's easier. I need, see what's going on with my color mixes since I have limited space. So this is titanium white and this is zinc white. And I don't know if you can see this, but you can tell on the palette between the two just by how opaque even over this white the titanium white is, whereas how transparent the zinc is. This is a glazing medium and this is fluid white paint. These two look a lot alike. I have some Payne's gray fluid and some Mars black. I actually meant to put out CAD red medium, but had grabbed my CAD red light tube. And then I was like, well, it's out. Waste not, want not. And then I've got some burnt umber, ultramarine blue, quinacridone magenta, Naples yellow light, CAD yellow, and phthalo blue. So that's kind of what I'm thinking I'm going to resolve everything with. I think we're going to, my hope, fingers crossed, is to get this beautiful baby done.
All right.
I'm going to start out and I'm going to get some of my nice umber brown on. This is a 3/8 angle brush, just any small brush that gives you control. And I'm going to brush in the brown first. And I'll do that because between the black underneath it and the depth of it, it's a good first layer for what I'll be doing on this rustic kind of area. Straight lines, not my friend today. You know how that be. John's like, no, except when I'm pinstriping, but not in general, no.
Nope.
So I'm hoping everybody liked the email and they found that super helpful. I'm going to be sending emails to the patrons on their specific levels. If you guys have something that's just your level. And so sometimes the $35 will get several emails related to the patronage because you will get your monthly big project or Zoom email, and then you would get whatever's going on at the later levels. I didn't this time hit you guys into the 25. I didn't think about it because you guys had already done Green World, but I totally should have, and I'll probably make that adjustment in the future. Gotcha. I may even go ahead and get in there and send out that email again to you guys so that you have it. Or at least let you catch the last one of them going out. And the only reason why is because maybe you were still working on that project or hadn't started it yet. And it's a great resource, right?
Yeah.
To do that. If you're here on the giveaway, save those links, even if you're not deciding to sign up, because you can finish your project and do that stuff. So if there's something that you were working on and it wasn't feasible for you to sign up or do this, you were just here for the giveaway, make sure that you save the link of the project that you're working on. And that was my other thought on that sort of email of that. Does that make sense, John?
It does.
So that people can have it. Now I'm going to get into my red. I love red and brown as a mix. I do. I love it a lot. It's so rust. I'll go ahead and add that a few places. I'm doing this sort of rough. And that's because rusty things are rough. I'm not low key. What it is that I have literally been working and painting all day, coming up with a new tip video every day or project has been an interesting creative challenge on top of making sure you guys have what you need and the watercolor guys have what they need and make it. It's just, I got a mug recently that has this like rope and it says, I don't know if I found a rope or lost a horse. And I'm like, yeah, that's my life. I don't know if I found a rope or lost a horse. So it's just a busy, busy time right now, but I couldn't do this experimentation without you. We've got a lot going on the YouTube channel. John and I have been talking today about how punitive YouTube is for experimentation.
Yeah, it doesn't really like that.
And once you start it, you have to finish it or it will drop you into Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be in Siberia. I really like teaching art to people around the world. And I don't want to have to try to, obviously, John and I like putting art to music, but we don't want to do that whole, like, I don't know, sort of a piano thing with just nothing else going on. You know, we even looked at that experiment and asked ourselves over on the retreat channel, is this something we would even enjoy? And you know what the answer was? No, we were not into it. So I'm adding some rust to that. Since it's here, I'm going to go ahead and get my orange to it. Waste not, want not. Because I think that'll look really nice. That was just what was going on with that. So I'm wanting to, we've got to, besides, I think what I'm thinking about the tips, and I'll have to see what John thinks. The tip videos I think are great because they answer questions that I get asked for my community. So I thought, well, the worst that could happen is that we just come up with a really great short video answer for people's most pressing new questions. Hey, John,
Mm-hmm.
can you catch what's going on the stairs?
Yes, they're coming down right now.
Okay. And there we go. Just doing that here. Stair noise is so distracting. Just we keep saying don't use the stairs more. We live.
Children, what are you going to do?
I don't know. You've got to keep them though, so.
They don't let you beat them anymore.
I don't want to. He's kidding. And if that was triggering for anybody, I'm sorry. You know, one of the things that I've learned from the internet is that, you know, our experiences can be so very different.
It's true. You can make it, but it can be like, you know, what would be a mild joke, but some folks that can really hit home on some things. So
because they went through such a different experience in their life. And yeah, and it's just different for them. And I get that though. I'm going to take a little bit of my umber into my brown. If you've been watching any of my tip videos, you'll be like, oh, I have some sense of how that's going to go. Anyways, the tips were like, well, first we're like, it will answer questions to the community and become a much needed resource on the channel. But now YouTube's doing a thing to us where we're committed till one of them gets back into the greater metric.
The greater metric.
Yeah. Telling you what, they've got a thing going on. All right. So we've got a little bit of this kind of, I made it a little bit brighter and more dramatic. I'm going to get some of my black here and trim up anywhere that I really need to. I feel that this needs a little trim. I can totally do that. And you can also kind of come here and exaggerate the grid as well. Just kind of pull in some lattice work.
And the traceables on the dashboard, right?
Traceables on the dashboard. The traceable is in your email. Was sent out 60 today.
60 emails.
60 went out, which is, I think 60. I don't know. I'm guessing. I sent out a group of them. It was under 100. So if you check and be sure and look in your spam folder, look around if you're not finding them, and you should be getting them because if you're here, you should be getting them.
That's right.
Write support at TheArtSherpa.com. And then Callie Beasley's looking for it.
Yes, she was just in there looking. That's what we were talking about it. So we can find it.
Here we go. What is going on? I'm going to get a little of my yellow in it. I'm almost having to paint to reset my mindset.
It's okay. We can be here for a moment.
Let me paint to reset my mindset. It really throws me off. It's so strange what will throw off your concentration. Nothing throws off John's concentration. He's a machine.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure, you're a machine. I'm just adding a little bit of yellow. For For some reason, you wouldn't have thought I would have been this into painting the crate. But I'm super into this crate.
Well, the crate actually looks really pretty cool.
I like doing this kind of stuff. Sometimes for me, it's these weird bits in a painting that really work for me. I love this little angle brush. You've never seen one of these little businesses in motion. Quite a thing. All right, I feel like we've got a grate going in there.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you know, we're going to come in and clean up, but I do want to go back with just a little bit of black and kind of make sure that I've got some nice depth of paint, because so much stuff has happened since I started this project with you guys. Making this as interesting as possible. There we go.
Wow.
All right, let's do some stuff on this cup here. The cup is fascinating to me. I'm gonna take a little.
Yeah, the cup's looking pretty good.
I'm gonna take some of my blue and black here, and I'll start this, thinking about this, because a lot of this is just in darkness. It's just super dark over here. It's about tiny little highlights that you see to help you see this cup happen, and I'm gonna see if I can capture those in any kind of a functional way. So the first one, I'm gonna get a little. It's very safe to get your zinc kind of going on your brush first, and I'm gonna come along this edge and capture what is hopefully a small highlight on the edge of my brush. Nice sharp edge of a highlight, and then I'm gonna go ahead and maybe pull a little more here. There's some interesting little medallions, but I haven't really made up my mind if I want to do the medallions, if I think that they'll be additive. And that sometimes is what we're looking at. I may keep it dark, but just get it a little more in value than what is there. I can always black it out super easy. I'm going to go ahead and get a little titanium white and just hit that real fast. There's also some interesting stuff on the inside we can capture.
Yep.
I'm going to get into down here. And this low edge is an interior reflection I thought was really gorgeous. And then I'll put a little bit in the base going back here. Hopefully that'll be a nice arc to the cup. A very nice arc to the cup.
Someone's come down to attack my foot.
Is that Twix or Frenchie?
Twix. Trying to run away with my sock on my foot.
Twix has had it, eh? Twix is like, I want you to know that it is playtime. It is not make a video time. It is playtime. That's sort of how Twix is. She's just.
Did you see her over here?
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I wish you guys could see this. So John, she's got John's toe, and she's stretched his sock out while still remaining on his foot to its limit and is pulling as hard as she can, because nothing in her world is better than a stinky sock from John. That's her favorite. I'm going to kind of rack up a little white, titanium white highlight there, and maybe one here. And I think for the medallions, I'll have to switch to kind of a round or detail brush. And that's just simply because I need the control. I'm going to get my little round detail brush out, and I can load it with the fluid white to get into this black to get a very nice improved little shape. Get some of these showing. I can hear her snarfling.
Biting my toe.
Is she biting your toes? If John screams, it's the dog. Grab a little bit of highlight here. Maybe get a little bit of dotting, a little bit of highlight in there. It's always fun to see what you can get. And then sometimes there's other interesting little highlights that will happen. We have inside this lip, interestingly, a little highlight.
She's actually biting my toe.
Is it hurting?
When she bites my toe, it does. Do you see her right now?
Oh, she's at it. She's gonna game. John's gonna have to get up and save his foot and just give her the sock.
She's just come jumped up here.
Oh my goodness. Twick, the sock hunter. The greatest of all sock hunters. I'm gonna grab some of my gray. I'll try to put some of that shadow back and clean that up. And then maybe I will add a few little details. Sharon O'Brien, somehow I missed the others I couldn't find on the dashboard. I don't have a laptop right now on iPhone. Sharon, were you able, you were able to find it through the emails, how you were able to get all your links? I was hoping that that would make it easier for everybody. Because I think that there's sort of a mixed bag on locating stuff. And I want you guys to know that I always believe you. When you say I've looked and I'm having trouble finding it, I believe you. Because sometimes I'm on my website and stuff is crazy, or I don't know what the tech team did. It's a good bit why we're moving. And I believe you. I know it's true. So, not to mention that whole thing where like sometimes the browser you're using doesn't talk to the browser that we're using. Oh, it's just craziness that is ongoing. I'm going to add some white bright highlights there. Just some there as well. Hopefully my ellipse isn't too crazy. All right. Looking okay. A little bit of a dark cup. It's a bit of a dark horse, as they say. I'm going to kind of brush some of this blue-black back here. Just deepening that, and if I have to, just some just black. I'm going to do a similar bit of kit on the metal next to it. I see Donna is here. Always good to see Donna. All right, I'm going to get back into my angle brush, and I'm looking at... She's just won't leave me alone. Give her the sock, man.
No, it's my feet. She's trying to get me to play is what it is.
You have never seen a dog try so hard. Maybe you have. Maybe your dog tries like that at home, but it's just so cute to us. I have mixed in a little bit of yellow and black, and I'm getting some zinc white. And I'm going to come here, and I still want a little more yellow black than that. I'm going to start kind of putting some little bit of metal reflection on this box. I wasn't even sure if I was going to paint any of this in the in the still life. But then I thought, it's an interesting texture. So I can always make something black and take it away. So sometimes to me, it's fascinating to go, like, is that something I feel like, really doing today? A little bit of that there. And then I'll go ahead and definitely say that I've got a little bit of that here. And, yeah. I have a little bit of a box shading in. I can always put it back if I don't love it. I may need to see overhead, John.
We can do that.
I'm not really reading the chat. I'm so deep in. I may have to, guys, if I'm not answering questions, it's because I've got John removing the chat from my screen. So I can see the overhead. Because sometimes I need the overhead to know what's going on too. It's my stand back and look at the piece. I really want that to be dark. I'm going to just paint. Not every reflection here. I want to keep it kind of light, and we want to see it, but we don't need to see all of it. You know what I mean? With a straight line. And again, maybe not seeing all of it. Playing with that very deep lighting to create that sort of sense of space. Sense of space, sir. Sense of space. Get some brown and the white. There's this sort of wonderful stamp work in the metal. I will get that painted in, general gist of it. And then I'll want to come in with a dark line. It's sort of interesting. Make sure it's just on the toe of my detail brush. I'm just using a detail brush. Sometimes when I'm doing something, it's a weird thing that will attract me to a piece, and like why something stood out as something I might want to paint. It'll always be sort of interesting. We'll go ahead and get a round brush. I like me a round brush.
Yeah.
And I've had a round brush from today's tip video. I'll rinse out a little bit. Oh, today's tip video was a good tip video.
Yeah, it was.
I was happy with that. I'm going to take some blue and black, and then where I want to put highlights that kind of are popping, I can do that a lot easier. Capture the curves of this. Wherever I have a curve or then I can get even more white into that. And the nice thing about the zinc is that these are soft, subtle highlights, and then you can pop things with your titanium white in a really wonderful way. And sometimes less is more.
That's looking pretty good.
Yeah, sometimes less is more. One thing that I've been very blessed to get a lot of exposure to is the idea of the edit.
The idea of the edit.
Yeah, where you can, you know, be completely beholden to a reference. That is certainly allowed. But sometimes it's nice to maybe not as much make the reference the end all be all of what you're doing. You just find little bits of highlight and things, and then it's amazing what happens, especially in these dark pieces.
Yeah.
And all that hard work, John, all that hard work
Looks
is
pretty
going
good.
to allow me to do the shell. But I realize you might be like, well, what do you want to do about the baby's breath? I actually don't want the baby's breath up here. I think I'm going to put the baby's breath back here.
Yeah.
And how I'll do the baby's breath, and I think this is, you guys will find this clever. First, I'm going to get my just zinc white. And we're going to use just our round, and we're going to make the little baby's breath flowers that are here. The lazy medium is about to be our friend in a way you cannot believe.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
How so?
Well, because after we get these bright whites in and everything, what we can do, like we paint the flowers in quite bright, and then we go back through with glazing medium and put them in deep value where they should be. If I want to create this wonderful bit of flowers behind some objects,
You
but
won't
then
have any trouble.
eventually push them back into the distance, I can do that.
You can do it.
Yes, I can. Like the water boy. I can do it. The thing is, when you're painting baby's breath and you're not using Q-tips, on that rare occasion you decide to paint baby's breath and not use Q-tips, you know, kind of look at your reference and then just observe how they cluster together, what pulls them together as baby's breath, you know, what makes them work. You'll very quickly get a sense of what it is.
Yeah.
And then I will want to put them between the cup and this, so they'll kind of come forward. This will be very interesting. So did I like the baby's breath in the original composition? I did, but I wasn't as excited about where it was.
So you changed it.
So I changed it.
You can do that.
You can. It is your canvas. You know, it is your painting, and you can change some things. Now, changing one or two things does not necessarily make an original. To this photographer, I've definitely changed some things.
Mm-hmm.
If this, and I've licensed this image, so I'm in legal high ground here. But say I just saw this somewhere and just painted it and changed these two things and hand painted it. I would not have an original. I would definitely have a reproduction of that photograph.
Right.
And I think that sometimes confuses artists because they think between the act of repainting something and if they change one or two small things, it's really like a lot of artists don't realize like how chill I am, because it's if you can recognize the original source image.
Right. If it's
and
recognizably,
prove it in court.
Yeah. If it's recognizably a derivative work.
Yeah, and I let a lot of stuff just chill and be go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, chill and be go. I even on YouTube a lot of times. And the reason I do that is my own peace of mind. And sometimes I look at the intent of the artist. Was the artist trying to take an idea or a skill and make something original?
Right.
And just fell short of the mark, but it was their hope, their purpose. You know, are they trying to do that? And I don't know. Sometimes if I get a sense that they're just trying to be that, I try to count their intention as part of the process for myself. My reference went away. Why did I do that? Don't go away, reference. Don't go away, reference. I need you. So the next thing that I'm going to do for just a minute is I'm going to take my brown, for sure a little bit of my yellow, and my brown and my white on my detail brush. I do want a fluid flowing off my brush kind of application. We're going to add some of the stem work or little lines that imply all the delicate little bits between
the bits.
The bits, just the bits, sir. Just the bits. And I think that's important. I think it's real easy to like lose it as an artist online, especially if you feel something of yours is taken. I certainly have lost it in the past. But what I've come to learn is that peace of mind is also a big deal. Not being in that space if you can avoid it. So you can believe you me, if I'm in it, I could not avoid it.
Yep.
I have made my fuse longer though over the years, like where my how many tries.
You got a couple tries in you.
I got more than I used to. I feel. I hope I have more than I used to. But you never know. Sometimes how you see yourself is so different than how you are.
This is a 12-inch round, right?
This is a 12-inch wood round that I just did a couple coats of gesso on. I think I did it for this class, didn't I? I think I did it here. You guys could see me do it. I like that. I do. I do. I'm now going to get a little of my brown. Don't mind if a bit of my red goes into it. And I'm going to take that detail brush and definitely put a little bit of sort of a little center in some of these flowers. An important part of that.
Yeah.
There's a couple layers I want to do here. And then I think I will have it. How's that? Sir, you like that?
Looks pretty good.
Now I'm going to get some of my titanium white, and this will be shockingly brighter.
Wow, it is shockingly brighter.
Isn't it? It's like, what? I mean, these seem so white initially until you put the comparison in. Now you can see why I wasn't as invested in doing a whole heck of a lot on that back
Yeah.
story box. I think it's nice to layer because it creates a sense of how these objects are tucked into each other.
Right.
Which is terrific. And some centers. So looking at that overhead real quick.
Oop, there it goes. Pretty good.
That's looking okay. It's looking all right.
Quite nice, I think.
Could be better, but it's getting there. Sometimes I will look at shapes and be like, okay, you need to have this sort of flow, and you've got to be flexible enough to go with that flow when you need to.
Go with the flows.
Yeah, you got to go with the flow. Oh. I may let that have a little dry for a bit. Have a little think about what it's done.
Go think about how you're
It
drying.
needs to think about it. It does. I'm going to start out, interestingly enough. I want to get some of my brown loaded up. Improve my fluidity. And get into my zinc. And I'm going to start trying to create our shell effect. I feel like brush directionality on this is going to be a huge deal.
I think so.
I have painted shells, but I have not specifically painted this shell, I don't think. I've done abalone a bunch. Oh, that would be a good tip video. How to paint abalone?
Ooh, that
Texture?
would be.
Okay. Anyways, tip video. Need another tip. But I think it'll be some similar stuff, so I'm going to try to be the shell. And it's interesting about capturing, this overall curve, and also capturing that overall curve. You've got these two curves, this outer curve, and then the bend and fold of the shell shape, which comes in real quick, man. Once you start putting it in, it's very fast. I'm using my glazing medium. And the shell that's by it does go underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get this really thought out first.
Yeah. Whoop. I'm going to come back over to the top, I think.
Yeah, just making sure my brush strokes are coming from a strong side for me.
Huh.
So just building that in, that first thought.
Watching our stream, it's having a little trouble.
Our stream is having trouble.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about.
We're not even straining YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up. Something weird's going on.
Is it going to be okay for them or?
Yeah, I'm going to go see. I'll be right back. I'm going to leave you. I'll be right back.
Okay. I come right there. I'm just starting the base of the shell that's next to it, which you can see I'm getting into my browns and yellows a lot and building creams. I can always get this into my blacks, but it's nice to get the base in. This shell, honestly, guys, is the one I'm most about painting because it's such a weird non-shell shape, right? It's a non-shell shape. So getting it in there is going to be like kind of its thing. I'm not surprised we're having some internet trouble. We were trying to watch Disney Plus a while ago and couldn't get anything. Getting that shape in. And we will darken a lot of this. We're just getting their basic kind of weirdnesses in. Weird shell. So weird, John. Now, I'm going to get a little of my pink and a little of my Naples yellow, loosely mixed. I'm going to come just that first kind of feel about it. Okay. I'm into my...
No, it's still acting all wonky. We'll see.
Listen, guys, if this goes super wrong, we will just simply upload our record. The one I have, the big one, does go flat and does stuff, but I used to have one that rotated a lot more. And I wanted to get back one into rotating again. I haven't decided what to do about that, though. The company that I made that I got my easel from is now not the same company anymore. The guy that made him is gone, making some other cool easels in Santa Fe, like they do.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and add some of that Naples yellow in there. Having some fun with it. Brushing it out. Oh, maybe a little smidge, just the smidgest of gray. Even be blue. Come forward.
Oh, I'll go ahead and leave it.
Is it working?
Yeah, looks like we're okay.
Okay.
I just had to reset that stream for some reason. Oh, maybe I misread Callie's question. Let me go back up here.
Okay.
Where did it go? I was slightly distracted by the...
It's okay. Sometimes it'll happen. What is Callie's question?
Yeah, so is it possible to paint on a round easel? I don't have a cool paint spin around yet. Needless to say, I haven't started this.
Yeah, you could paint on a round easel. There are round easels.
Are there? I guess there's sort of spinning easels.
There's several spinning easels. Yeah. Actually, I could be wrong about this, but I don't believe I am. I'm gonna get some white involved. I believe that the advent of the spinning easels is because of an artist named Chuck Close, who was in a major accident and lost all of his mobility and ended up being quadriplegic and wanted to still paint. Well, actually, his friend was afraid that he would hurt himself. And so he came up with a way to do that. And I think that kind of changed the way we thought about easels. Just pulling those many streaks. Many streaks. I'm going to let this dry for a minute and I'm going to come over here and do some kind of shading and painting of what I've got. So my white and my brown. Pulling that in. Kind of do some little streaks off here. Streaking off there. Using implied texture.
Imply the texture.
Mm-hmm. And again, we can so easily glaze and put things in shadow that just play with it and be rough with it. It's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get a little brown black in there. I may improve flow there. Creating a little bit of light and dark and shadow.
Mm.
Now, this is mostly already as it is in the dark, but we'll just start here and then see where it gets us. That has given, oh, not enough time to dry, so I'm going to have to hit it with a hairdryer.
Okay.
Sometimes when I use glazing medium, it really slows the drying time down of the paint.
Yeah.
And it's in sort of this tacky, hard to drag stage for a period of time. And I've got to dry it and then come back and deal with, wow, we're really close, aren't we?
We really are. So just a quick dry to make sure it's all good. So it's good to see everybody hanging out with us. Looks like the audio is doing okay again.
The audio is doing okay again?
I mean the
Is the overall recording okay?
Yeah,
Like,
I
is
think
their
so.
reviewability good?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll watch it. We'll check it after and then assess. I'm getting some white and I'm going to come over into these little flowers. Kind of outlining their weird little shapes. I have to go back and put in some more faces. I will. This kind of work I find kind of pulls things together. It makes big impact all kinds of places. It also gives me a minute to allow some of this to dry and I'll just dot this out. I know I get real quiet on these more thoughtful patron paintings. I'm like, oh, Sherpa, talk it out, narrate all the things.
You're doing your thing.
So I'm just dotting around, kind of creating an interesting little extra texture into that space.
Yeah. Extra texture.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted us to start today when we did, because I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of energy and stamina to be able to do the stuff that I really, really wanted to do. And those little dots, and don't the little dots just, I don't know, they just make it work.
Pretty awesome.
I think so.
I think it's so.
Now, while I'm here, I'm going to come here and let everything have kind of a dry. I'm I'm going to outline my petals. We'll just quietly have this little moment where we give some shape to our flower.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that gorgeous how that works?
Yeah.
I won't do it on every peony. You can if you're like, this is the best thing I've ever done in my life and it makes me love my flowers and not hate them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can outline all of them, but I'm going to do it on this main one to make this one the most focal.
Ooh.
Right? Sometimes where you put the most detail and attention, that's what draws your eye to something.
Yeah.
Very much like to do this. Pulling that all in there.
Yeah.
And you can see as we kind of define those petals, doesn't it just, I don't know. For me,
Yeah.
this is the secret sauce.
That's pretty good.
These petals here will be more on their edge because they're kind of facing me.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can capture a little bit of white and yellow. Need that little bit of drama right there. And let's look at that and see how that did for us.
I was
think,
just.
sorry.
That's okay.
But I think that's just starting to pull itself together. Do you
It
guys
really
see
is.
that?
Oh, yeah. It turned out really, really good.
Oh, Callie Beasley wants to be told about ATCs. Can I do that while I take a break and sip my water?
Sure. Tell her.
So ATCs are artist trading cards. They're like collecting original art and having pen pals for grown-ups. And so they have to be 2.5 by 3.5 inches, and they should be hand created. They can be any medium, but they shouldn't be mechanical prints and reproductions. Like there's something hand created by you. It can be multimedia, or watercolor or acrylic. And you swap them with other people making original art. And we have a Sherpa swap, and we swap with people around the world. We take care of it, so we protect your address and identity. You send it in to us. We swap the cards and send them back out. And
Yep.
as a patron, you get a whole grip of cards you can swap.
Yep. That's pretty much it.
We let people do one for free because we're like us. But
Because that's
if
what
you
we like
want to
to do.
like get into it, and there's some really amazing people in the swap. They just really are. I mean, think about it. They just do like the most wonderful stuff. I always love to see what everybody does. We loosely give a theme, and we used to swap at once, like one time, everybody, but it was with international shipping and the different ways mail was working. Now we just swap as they come through several times a month so that the turnaround time is much more satisfying. So if you're at this level and you're seeing this video, definitely come by the ATC group. You're going to want to make little art. You can write support at TheArtSherpa.com. Any help that you need. I've done some videos on ATCs. So you can go Art Sherpa ATC and you'll see a couple of my videos that I've done. John even did an ATC video.
Mm-hmm.
He painted something for World of Warcraft. Selfs. So I think it's really one of the coolest things that we do. And John, you can't believe how hard he advocates for it. Because every time I'm like, I don't know if we can do the swap anymore. John's like, no, we must do the swap. It is my favorite thing.
I do like it.
He does really, really like it. And I really like the effect of that outlining and those extra little dots on that flower. So I'm going to get some of my browns. Maybe some of my blacks this time. Some of my browns and blacks. The glazes. And I'm going to start to paint some of the patterning texture that I see here on the shelf. Now, until I glaze the shadow on this, and I am going to do a glazed shadow on this, it won't really look like what it is. It needs the patterning to look like what it is. That kind of already looks a little like what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just taking the toe of my brush and I'm just wiggling.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be perfect, and you can get into the orange if you feel like it. Because I put it out.
Because you put it out.
I did. If you don't have that, you can just mix the cad red and yellow. It's fine. It'll super be okay. I'm wondering how tomorrow's skin tone video is going to go over on the tip video, John. I am quite excited and nervous about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why are you nervous and...
You know, it's trying to think of how to say this because I, for a fact, am an inclusive, loving person.
Yes.
Right? And I have love in my heart. But I recognize that that is not the whole world. And unfortunately, in my experience being online doing skin tones.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you're worried you'd be like,
Yeah.
somebody could be judging your intention.
Judging my intention. You always worry about that.
It
And
can
believe you
happen.
me, it's never from where you think you'd see it coming from.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah. That's true.
And so it's always a little nerve-wracking, but I think it's so important because I believe everyone should be able to paint themselves. And I believe we should be able to paint each other. And honestly, I think if we made art of each other and therefore through that act could see the beauty and humanity in one another, it would really improve us overall as a society quite a lot. You know, and then it's just gotten even hard to talk about it just because, breaks my heart. So it's just been a hard time for me in this area.
I get
this area.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't for the first time in my art life, I don't know how to respond to something. I don't know how to see something. I don't know how to respond to something. I don't know where the most healing path is. But I don't want to sit there and let that fear stop me from doing the right thing.
Sure.
Because I'm afraid of the mean people that are out there that attack you.
Yeah. You okay? We'll take a break?
I'm okay. I'm going to drink my water.
Need a hug?
I don't think I'd said it out loud. And I'm safe, right? I'm with
Right.
my family and we're okay, and I realize that, and I had just put up some stuff on my own personal page about some artists and people that had done some artwork, and I thought had done a very positive thing with their feelings and been quite admirable in the unbelievable ugly that I saw people do. It made me afraid.
Yeah.
And again, I just don't think I'd said it. Karen Scott asked me if I was going to paint Oya, and I realized I'm afraid to paint Oya.
Well, I don't think we should be afraid to paint anything.
I know, but I just think I realized that I was putting it off.
Yeah.
And that's just a weird place. I wouldn't ever talk about this anywhere but in the patronage. But it did. It was scary.
Yeah.
People's ugly, and they just weren't listening, and they just wanted to be super hateful and not try to understand other people's points of view. And and I know John and I went to Prairie View A&M, which is a Black Baptist college in the South.
One of the oldest historically black colleges in the nation.
Right. So I know this is just a small taste of what so many people live with every day.
Sure.
And I think, wow, like I've been silenced.
Well, I tell you what, this is. Why don't
I'm
we go
okay.
ahead,
No, I'm okay. Don't silence me.
I'm not trying to silence you. I was just give you. This is a lot for an unexpected evening, and
It's fine. Because I feel like I've been silenced.
we're not being silenced.
Sometimes when you do art, you touch on stuff. I'm taking highlights. Super sorry, guys. I don't want to get off. I don't want to stop painting. Really, very much.
Okay.
One, because I find this very calming. And also because sometimes when I'm painting and I'm thinking I realize something that maybe I've been avoiding or not dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add some white here.
All right.
So I guess in this space, this is where art is cathartic. Thank you for the hug, sweetheart.
I'm sure.
In that sometimes, we get out of touch with ourselves, and art helps us get back to that. And as long as art is cathartic, like even if you touched on a hard feeling, as long as art is helping you work through that, then it's good. Oh, thank you, everybody. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys, I'm a big ball, like stuff touches me. And, sometimes I think that, if you feel things very deeply, like sometimes you can come along to a thought or something, and it's just much more powerful than you realized. I'm going to grab a little of my Naples yellow. Start to come along here and really pull the shape of this. I'm excited to do the iridescent. So yeah, that's what happened to Oya, and that's what happened to a lot of stuff, is I just wasn't up for dealing with unkind people.
Sure. Putting some more layers on there.
I am. I'm just calming myself.
You're just in deep thought there. Just
what do you say?
we've lost the Sherpa.
I don't want you to take me off air, so try to be quiet.
I'm not gonna, look, you can do whatever you want. This is your show.
I'm like, I just need to paint now.
And you can paint without being on the air too.
It's true.
You can
And
just
probably
paint.
will. And oftentimes
Oops.
will paint to address things.
Mm-hmm.
Diane saying that thoughts or images can do that to her. Yeah, like certain images just really shock me. You know. And I think what it is that we all have an internal compass in us and it's guiding us. And sometimes circumstances or situations or your career or your responsibility, they take you away from doing or saying things you would normally do or say.
Yeah.
You know, and so you just never know. Like a lot of times I think that can happen to anybody.
For sure.
And add a little bit of that's a little dark, so I'm going to glaze that up there. Don't want that quite so dark. Or get a little of the blue black and more blue than black and
They really like how the shell's turning out.
yeah, I'm very excited about the shell because I think when it's all done, it'll be really lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited about that kind of quality of that. I'm here with the toe. Not sniffling for COVID though. Thank goodness. All right, I'm going to come here and adding a little highlight to this spot. I'm going to come in with a little bit of white and come in and start to talk about some of the highlights.
All right.
Are you talking to me? So someone's talking to me.
No, just
brushing that in now.
very good.
Very good. You sound like your mom.
I do?
Yeah, that's what your mom always says. Very good.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Here and just making sure that we get little form and shape and things that we might have. Going into my zinc. I love my zinc. I do. Because you can create such nice soft effects with it.
Yeah.
The titanium white is so profound and powerful. Now I'm going to dry this again to give this a good dry, and then I'm going to come in and do some like really big highlights and stuff.
A little more drying before we get in there. But I don't think it'll take too much more to get this taken care of. So, you just never know how long she's going to be drying, whether it's like 2 2 seconds or like 2
Oh,
minutes?
can I get a tissue and
I'm gonna see if I can
unmute?
find you some. Hold on a second.
That would be actually the most helpful thing. So just pulling that in. And we're going to just keep blending that through. Now, on the shell, I want to take my pink here and my zinc, my pink and my zinc. And I almost need to put out more zinc because I really, really want it to be kind of light and glazy. So I'm going to put that right there. That'll work. I just don't want everyone to have to listen. And Hallie, I'm sorry I made you sympathy cry. I usually try to keep these really upbeat because right now, with the way the world is, we just need a break. And I think that sometimes the responsibility that I'm always putting on myself is not being the person that adds to other people's burdens, not being a person that adds to the crazy, not being a person that adds to things to make it worse, and even trying to make it better. Use this. You can mute me too.
Okay.
You can make me invisible.
I'm gonna mute you and I'm gonna make you invisible. Okay, there we go. Then we. You're there. Almost done there? Oh yeah?
That was weird. I really came out into the weird space there.
Sidestepped into some of the emotional space you did not expect.
You know what? We're human beings, right? And we're living our lives and
What?
in extraordinary times.
What do you mean, human beings?
We are. And it's extraordinary times. It's certainly different than anything I've ever been through. And
I are human.
I are human.
Some days.
Hmm. Oh, I like that pink. Now you will want to pick up a little bits of stronger pink a couple places, but it should be less is more. But I'm sure I'm going to do more is more.
More is more.
I'm me. So it'll be more is more.
Yep. Oh,
and then I'll grab a little bit of my ultramarine maybe. It's kind of a wonderful.
There we go. That explains that.
What's going on there?
Well, my computer monitor kept flickering, and I couldn't tell why, but the cable was stretched so far that it was almost pulling out of the connector.
Was that when the dog was coming? I thought she had a hold of the cables at one point.
I wasn't sure what was going on, but I
think she got a hold of the cables at one point.
Trying to fix it.
Add a little bit of this blue here.
Dog craziness.
What's wonderful when you're doing this is there's just so much color into the shell, and it's a lot of fun, me anyways, to get into. So we just start building it up.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Kelly says she likes how I'm putting depth in my work, and I hope you guys are getting depth in your work too, and you're seeing some different ways of getting something accomplished or getting something done, and finding your way into it. I want to make sure that I will be blending it into some background in a bit, but I want to make sure that it feels solid enough to blend into a background.
Yeah.
As you do.
As you do.
As I do, as somebody does. I don't know.
Somebody's doing today.
I'm going to get a little green. A little turquoise kind of phthalo green going here. And I will get that into my definitely into my zinc.
Is that opera pink, Sarah says?
No, it's just quinacridone. Quinacridone is a good pink.
It's an adequate pink. I don't know if it could be compared to opera pink.
And then come in with my glazing medium if anything gets too strong, and you can blend that out. And I definitely want to also get some yellow into this.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's our tight knit yellow, but then there's our cad yellow, and they're quite lovely together. And I'll get my ink in that as well. And again, this is very bright at this stage. Fun.
It's very, I like how pretty it is. It's very luminous.
It has a bit of the luminous about it. It's true, it does. You know, you're just trying to get that.
You see BJ's comment there?
I did not. BJ, it's complicated by being shell colors, light reflections, and reflected light from nearby objects. It is complicated by all of the things. This shell has decided to just be the thing that we're all going to really feel today.
Anything that's shiny is complex.
Anything that's shiny is complex. But if we can get this first bit on here pretty well, I'm going through. And there's a neat next bit that we can do that kind of does a cool thing, and I can't wait to show you. But I got to get this part in. It's got a lot of like iridescent colors, so I'm going to dry it real hard.
Oh, wrong button. Okay, that's the right button. Gotta find the right button. I've got all the wrong buttons being pushed today. I don't know what that's about. I think it's because it's just one of those days where I keep pushing the wrong buttons.
Oh. I'm going to get some of my zinc. I'm going to come here and I'm going to go over what I have here.
Mm.
I'm blending that in. Now that's going to soften a lot of it back. The colors are still there. They're showing through, but they're very much softened. Very much softened. Present, accounted for, but softened.
Hmm.
Even my little shadow here and everything here, just present, accounted for, but softened. Now I'm going to come into my titanium white, and I will get some glazing medium into it. So it is titanium white, but it isn't the brightest titanium white I've ever used. Maybe here it will be. Roll that out. I'm doing little streaks, but I'm also trying to capture some of the little highlighted reflections that come along the shell. If you need to get a little pink into any of it, you grab that pink and you go, a little highlight reflection. A little bit there. A little bit there. And so we're just building up these reflections.
Mm.
Now, right here at this reflection, I'm going to want to get some of my green. Good if it's got some zinc in it. I'm going to come on the outside of it. I'm going to wipe that out. I'm going to take my brush, and I've cleaned it, and I'm going to just, while the paint's still wet, kind of soften that green with my brush. Tapping that out. There we go. That's nice right there. And it's crazy how that starts to show up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy how it starts to all come together.
Looks pretty good.
It does. It doesn't look terrible. Now, I'm going to take a little of my blue and black again. Definitely. I probably need to glaze this so that I can do the shadow, and then I'm going to do, actually, no, I'm going to do the highlights first. I can always come back and reglaze if I need to, but I think I'll be happiest if I do the highlights first with the result. I'm going to come in, taking my detail brush. Sorry, I got a little emotional, guys. And here we go. Can you see the little bits of the shell coming in?
Yeah.
Those little cross reflections are now starting to happen.
Pretty good.
Getting these little hot spots out. It's about building it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, building it up. And then what we don't want to do is like lose all of our reflections when we come back and finally glaze our last of the little shadows we might have. I'm going to also probably come along here and I like those little detail bits of work that I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Little bits of drama.
Drama.
Because I've had obviously enough drama in this show. Oh my goodness. Nonetheless, what I was trying to say is I hope everybody likes my skin tone paintings.
I like them.
Knock on wood. It was a good one. I feel like I did a good job. All right, I'm going to dry this.
All right. Just a quick dry for the shell. Oh, Kelly, thank you very much. Thank you guys for all hanging in here. It's really nice to see you. I think she's reading the chat right now while she's drying, so. This is a little bit longer. I think she may be finishing this one up, actually. Just finish speed.
Woo!
All right.
Good?
Yeah.
We're nearly there.
Are you?
Nearly.
Nearly.
So take a little black, smidge blue, a little black, smidge blue, black. Lots of the glazing medium. And come underneath here. And I'm going to glaze both what's underneath it and this end of the shell itself. As I come back here, I'm going to also come in and bring this glaze over the top of that shell. Even the white highlights, which will still show,
Yeah.
will be kind of toned back by it. And this will help it blend back into its little background.
Perfect.
And just brush that back in there.
You saw the comment in there by Kelly?
I did not. I've been like super hyper focused.
Oh, okay. I thought you read that there. It
Maybe
said,
I did. I don't know.
please do not apologize for being emotional. You are human just like all of us.
Thank you very much. You know, I agree that that's true, but sometimes I agree that's true. We are all just human.
Mm-hmm.
Just come up here and I like this little black area coming back. It's very important the glaze lets it come off my brush really smoothly. Also, this feathering really helps keep the shape of the shell.
Mm.
So yes, I'm building shadow, and boom, it's amazing how it's like suddenly it's like, wait, that's pearlescent now?
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
it's been pretty pearlescent all along.
Yeah, I felt like it just hit it. It just hit it. All right, guys.
That's
What do you
pretty
think?
good. I like it.
Pearlescent. What do you think? I love it. I am can I look at the whole thing?
Yeah, you can.
I think when we get away from see, there you go. I think that looks really, really good.
You just gotta sign it.
I just gotta sign it. I just gotta sign it. So I think I'll take my blue and just a smidge of my white so that it shows, and some of my glazing medium. Let's see if I can get away with a slightly darker blue signature. Yeah, it's a little dark, even for
A little
me.
bit more.
It's a little bit hidden. When they've got to get a magnifying lens in there, I may have missed my value. But, you know, I don't want to take away these darker spaces.
Mm.
I guess my wish at the end of this painting is a return to compassion and understanding for sure.
Yeah.
And my other wish is that you guys get a great result with your painting. This is fantastic. Super pleased with it.
Oh, yeah, me too.
You know, I think it was all, how do you decide where to put your signature and what color to use? So when I'm deciding what to do with my signature, these are the things that I factor in. The overall color and value of the painting, right? So if this were a very light painting, I wouldn't want to put a big black signature on there because it would pull the eye because of the contrast. But I also wouldn't want to put some crazy color that wasn't in the painting because it would pull the eye. However, I'm okay. So there's a camp that says don't sign your art, but I'm of the camp that believes in signing your art. And I just feel like it's important to think about the overall design. So by putting it here, you can see that it exists. If you were trying to verify it was me, you could see it was done with the paint that I used. This is the paint from this painting. Not that anyone will ever have to look at this, but if a museum curator or anybody ever had to look at this and they were trying to decide, is this one, I can't imagine trying to verify my work.
Huh.
So many guys painted. But say somebody was ever trying to do that. they could then look at the paint that I used, and the signature would be something that would help them know that it was real. Also, I picked a color, that was in the painting in a bunch of places, but is one of the more neutral tones for this painting, therefore making this readable. But even though it's in the dark down space, it is, there. Today, the other painting I did today was an abstract. So I thought for Sunday, for our Sherpa short, it'd be fun to do an abstract. It's been a minute since we did one, and I thought, let's just do one in black and white, because what if somebody doesn't have any paint, but they have black and white,
right,
and a couple of tools? So this will work. And so I did this abstract, and it wasn't like piano or fast forward. It's just straight up painting an abstract real fast. But I did teach it.
Yeah.
I did sign that in red because I felt like that would be compelling to the piece. So I thought about how the overall result would be impacted by what the signature did. And this is as large as I will tend to take my signature, and I tend to tuck them in places along lines and compositional elements of the painting, so that they are synergistic to it. I can't tell you how many, and I miss the days of this. I used to think it was terrible, but I miss the days of heated debates about whether we should sign a painting or not, because what a lovely thing to debate about. And I don't think it's wrong. I don't think intrinsically it's wrong to not sign. If you want to ever explode my mom's brain and get her yelling, though, suggest that somebody not sign their painting. She takes it like a personal affront. Or she used to take it as a personal affront to artists everywhere, and she would be like, "This is the craziest thing I ever heard." I'm like, really? Seems like a moderately crazy thing. But and as you know, if you don't know, my mom signs her name with a red slash through it because of the town
slash.
When we were in France and she was rebooting her art career, every time you leave a village, the village's name has a line through it, like, "You're done with this village. The village is over." And we were like, thought it would be really funny if on the paintings that we did while in France, if she put a red line through her signature. And so she's very much about, like, this is my signature. It's my moniker. It's my maker's mark. That's how you know what you have is super valuable and important. And I think a lot of artists feel that way.
That's true.
And I think that's super valid. I also think it's probably just as valid for the artists, especially the abstract artists, to say the signature is so substantive to the overall composition that it becomes a detriment at some point, especially to conceptual work. Like the banana, if he'd signed it with a Sharpie, well, that would have just, that honestly, well, that would have been very interesting. But you know what I'm saying? Like, then we would have really, like, known that the work, if it has a signature, then you know what it is, and the viewer can't come into it. So it's an interesting debate. Callie Beasley says, "I have a good selection of whites and a small selection of reds at my house." Oh, we're talking wine, not paint. I was like, oh, I'm glad you have a lot of whites and reds. I do too. I got all the reds that Senelier makes, and then plus the red that I have all the reds from the Artist Loft 3, and I have most of the reds from Golden, and I'm going to see what individual it is, and I have this dream where I test all the combinations of primaries and then declare an ultimate primary set, which has probably already been declared out there, but I haven't declared it for myself, and I'd like to take that journey. So believe you me, you're going to be like, alizarin crimson, Prussian, and Naples yellow. What could you get with that? And I'll be like, I don't know. Let's find out. I don't know. I mean, I take you through every single combination of primary that exists, but I'm very excited about having all the reds. So that's what I thought when you said you had reds on white. You had a lot of paint. I get a lot of paint. All right, guys. I think that I really appreciate your support. If this video is glitchy or buffery in the replay, probably what we will do is re-upload it, and I will re-email out a new link, and I'm sure we will get a new one into the dashboard on the website, but we'll double that up. We'll just have to let it process and see what it does. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of this one. I really like it.
It's really great.
Be good to yourself. Seriously, be good to yourself. Self-care, self-hug, self-compassion right now. Such a big thing. And if you have anything left, extend all of that to others, because we all need it. And I want to see you at an easel real soon. Bye. Goodbye.